Welcome to our Congress. Hello, good afternoon. The first thing that I'd like to do is to thank you on behalf of my unit and on behalf of the telematic crimes of the Guardia Civil, of the Civil Guard, and would like to thank you for inviting us to participate in CyberCamp's 4th edition, a very important event on a national level in the field of cybersecurity. I've come here to speak about social networks and about the evolution of the Guardia Civil, the Civil Guard, in this respect. And I'd like to say that our corps, since 1884, were told that we would be a protection for victims and for those who were suffering, and that we would take care of the needs of everybody. And this is what we've been doing since 1884. Or 44 rather, and we've been evolving and adapting to new technologies, new types of crimes, and we've been working in different areas and domains, land, air, etc., sea. Right now we're also in cyberspace. And in 1996 we first detected the need to do research in the field of new technologies. And we've been evolving, and the group has been adapting, as I was saying, to these new technologies. And right now we've become a department. We're no longer a group, the Department for Telematic Crimes. And very recently we held our 20th anniversary, and these are pictures from another conference on security and in Madrid, and we were invited to participate. We were invited to speak about the history of our department, and here we have three different directors of the unit. One of them couldn't attend because there have been four, and I'd like to say that at present the group is structured in the following way. On the lieutenant, there's a section also for institutional relations and citizens collaboration that I belong to, and also an operations department that's in charge of investigation per se, and it's made up by four sections. One of them has to do crime against people, another one on hacking security, and also fraud and economic crime, and also copyrights, etc. And then we have another department that takes care of developing systems and applications that will help us in with our research, and also technical support and support regarding the analysis of the evidence that we get. Obviously, we collaborate on a national level with the rest of our colleagues from other police forces, university, the Attorney General department, the hacker community, and by hackers we mean people who are interested in security and that surveils and works for security. We don't use this term to mean criminals. No way. And we also collaborate with the private sector, and we also hold an international collaboration through our bilateral relations with other police forces, Europol, Interpol, and networks 24/7, and other institutions such as the ones we can see that fight child pornography, and abuse, child abuse, etc. And here we have colleagues from FBI, Europol, and this is an example of international collaboration. Right now, Internet has no borders, and our mission is to work on all the information we may get, and that could lead to a police investigation, or whenever judges tell us to investigate something, or whenever the Attorney General asks us to do so. We work in different sorts of operations. For instance, this international operation, for instance, children pornography, dealing, traffic, and others operations such as the OP Ricati, a recent thing by which a group of criminals were arrested. They had made 330 million euros through a malware and through different cyber crimes. And so these are different operations, like for instance against intellectual property. And our corps, our force has been evolving, because at the beginning crime in the net was 1.0. Users went in the internet in order to get information or in order to look at certain things. So now we work on crime such as corruption, children prostitution. That was the past, and then we moved on to 2.0, cyber crime and cyber crime, things more related to technology. And now we move to 3.0, and we are in the antechamber of 4.0. We're already speaking about cyber attacks, cyber spying, cyber war. We're already speaking about a war in the net. And some people say that we're already into cyber war. Our department's been evolving. So in 2005, in this 1.0 web, we launched our first web. This is a web that was used to do queries. We used to use email, something that is still used. Little by little, we've been making progress, and this is a picture from the web we have right now. And right from the beginning, we're publishing alerts, news, and or any information that we thought would be interesting for internauts. In this 2.0 thing, we have an interaction of the user with us. And I have to say that telematic complaints do not exist, but through our portal you can download forms, and once you've filled them in, and you can submit them in order to be able to report on whatever has happened to you. And to this end, we use this service called e-Garante, or e-Garant, and it's an online witness to speak of. So this tells us what was present in the web at the time of the capture, and we can also use it as legal evidence. Then we have what we call collaborate. It's this collaborative part by citizens. Through this, I want to report on, and they can report on any suspicious attitude or something they may see in the web. I was talking to somebody and we're saying we don't need to know whether this is a crime or not. It's something which, as we see it, could perhaps be a crime. So through this portal, we can find out anonymously. You can send us a file telling us what you saw, who the suspect could be. So little by little, we're sent information. In this case, we are sent Twitter profiles, which in this case went against children pornography. So we work on this information, we analyze it. If it's information we can access to, we start with an investigation, or if it's an investigation that is related to somebody abroad, outside of Spain. So this is information that we submit or send to other colleagues in other countries. And then we started with social networks with the 3.0 thing. So since 2010, we started having our first profiles in Twitter, Facebook, and 20's got a social network aimed at teenagers mainly. 20, as you very well know, 20 disappeared, and we added YouTube by adding contents that I will tell you about in a few minutes. So what do we do with the profiles we have in social networks, in Twitter and Facebook? We try to somehow we focus on campaigns launched by Europol, or campaigns that deal with profile. By the way, this is a person who's disappeared, so we disseminate this, or we disseminate what other colleagues from police forces tell us of. For instance, in this case, sex offender was being looked for, was being chased. Our aim is to find the bad guys. And so if we join forces, and in this case, for instance, is when the attacks took place in Barcelona, so the regional police force were telling us what was happening, and we're trying to help and reinforce and help them wherever necessary. And when we started with Twitter, we started with a hashtag. We all know what this is. This is this part of Twitter. And in the end, we created our own, which was GDT Twitter Dia. This forced us to publish one tweet a day, telling something that would be necessary. It is true that we prioritize quality and not quantity. So we want to tell something that may be useful for citizens. So we came up with this first profile. Others followed, and I'll tell you about them. So we created a GDT alert profile. With this hashtag, we wanted to get to Twitter and internautes by telling them something, by telling them about a threat that perhaps we had discovered in the internet. In this case, it's a campaign about a fraud, given sort of fraud. And we also produce videos, and we create GDT news, for instance, in order to, for instance, Incide launched this forum, and we also disseminate our own news. Like in this case, this Ricati operation that I've brought here to tell you about how we started working with social networks, because here we not only speak about this operation. But this operation was something where we obtained many telephone numbers related to potential victims. So you wouldn't imagine the amount of work trying to locate all these victims. So in our own website, we had a window, we had an area in order to ask people whether this person had been ripped off. So in this case, we also launched a video saying what the operation was about and how it affected victims and how these victims were attracted or attacked. The idea was for this to be easy to handle, easy to understand, in order for people to understand how these cyber criminals got to their victims. And then we created this hashtag, this DDT Council thing. Here we tell people how to avoid problems with the internet, how to avoid fraud, scam, and we used pictures, images with which we explained the different steps to be taken. For instance, in this case, when we are sent a typical message saying we are in alert 3 or 4, or call this, ring this phone number, and these things are fake, are not true. So in order to know whether this is a real piece of news or if it's just fake, we give them advice in order to tell people how to detect these things. So, and we had a problem with this, and this is that was somebody who through Facebook said, everything that you're telling us is wonderful, you guys, but whenever you send us an image, a picture, we cannot see it, we cannot read it, because we've got a special software that reads what you tell us, but it doesn't translate what's in the picture. So, in a basic sort of way, what we do is the following. We transcribe what we have in the picture. We tell what's in the picture. We explain it. We're trying to make this much user-friendly. And we're collaborating also with the Association for the Blind in order to make sure that we reach out to a bigger audience. Here we also launch many tips throughout the day, basic security in internet, in mobile phones, and also holidays through the internet, security when buying online, security with smartphones, holidays, digital security, and something that's very important, the danger of dangerous communities. And we launched this because we started detecting too much movement in certain media related to the problem of blue whales. And before serious problems happened in Spain, different security forces were launching these alerts just if in case any kids were going into these games. And these are no games, by the way. These are activities. These are things where kids had to keep passing a series of tests and harming themselves, doing themselves harm. And the last test had to do with committing suicide, for pouring frozen water, freezing water over their heads, and then boiling water, and burning themselves and doing horrible things. So this is what we're trying to avoid. And we also So what we want to do is to address these messages to more vulnerable groups like people with special needs, the elderly, our dear cyber grandmas and grandpas. And to this, and for the children, we created these GDDT councils. Of course, very small kids, and they need to read these messages together with their parents, because kids need to be at least 14 in order to go into social networks. So we launch videos in order for them to view them, to watch them together with their parents or family members. And in theory, supposedly there's some music to this, there's a soundtrack, there's some music to it, something that little kids like very much.
Terminamos con nuestras formas de contacto, lógicamente.
We also launched some campaigns and special days, like the Internet Safe and Secure Day, some special days like May 17th, for instance, the Internet Day, thanks to the collaboration of celebrities in the field of cybersecurity, sports or TV. With the help of these people, we launch some video clips with tips, and we are asking people to record these things as professionally as possible, because the idea was for these videos to reach out to citizens. And I'll show you an example of a comedian, Santiago Rodriguez.
No te olvides tener siempre una copia de seguridad.
Don't forget to always keep a copy, a backup, because in case your system has a failure, or if it is attacked by a cyber criminal, so that you won't be able to access your professional information, the best thing to do is to retrieve this with security copy, backup that I'm sure you have, that is always ready to be used. Remember this. Thanks to the help of influencers, easy way to reach out to citizens. So far, I've been speaking about information we provide to social networks, information for citizens. But for us, the information we get is much more important. Citizens collaboration, and thanks to this portal, for us, this is like a radar in order to know what's going on in the internet, because unfortunately, no matter how much we want to cyber cruise or cyber patrol, we cannot reach everywhere. So through these communications, we can find out about new ways of crime or criminal campaigns which are back. For instance, there's a typical case which once in a while shows up again. We see this blue screen in our computer asking us to dial a telephone number, and all they want to do is to ask money from us. For instance, this gets through this Collaborate portal where they speak about sort of crime through a platform. A citizen is doing an improper use of buying and selling platforms. So we analyze all this.
Si es una campaña delictiva,
And if it is a criminal campaign, we launch our hashtags, we launch our contents through YouTube and through pictures.
si son motivo de que iniciemos una
And
policial,
if
por supuesto,
there are reasons to start criminal proceedings, we start with our investigation and we report the judge. Of course, we don't work if there is no order from or no warrant from the judge asking us to do so. We are always reporting judges. And this is useful also to report to the technology crime prosecutor's office. The prosecutor is always informed and updated, and they know what is currently going on the internet. And if the prosecutor's office requires it, we collect information regarding, for example, crimes of hatred. The recent case of the death of the General States Prosecutor is an example of this. I repeat, all the crimes committed through new technologies and which are related to terrorism are dealt with by specialized groups. If we receive this kind of information, we refer that information to that department. This is a crime of cyber terrorism. We refer that information to the group, the specific group, as I said. Imagine that we get information regarding animal abuse. Then we refer that information to the department of the civil guard that is in charge of that. If the crime has to do with road traffic, we refer all the information to the corresponding unit or department. This is an example of a recent case. Only 3 weeks ago, somebody said that he read in a forum that someone was saying that he was going to commit suicide. So we read the comment, and it was actually a farewell from somebody who was saying goodbye in a forum. It is not our competence, but we couldn't waste any more time, so we had to verify the information. Thanks to the cooperation of the forum, we found out more information about this person. We located that person and found out that he had attempted suicide before. So we reported this to our colleagues in the city where this person lived, and our colleagues made it in time. This guy had already taken some pills, but our colleagues made it in time and were able to save him. So we feel very proud that we are able to avoid and prevent this kind of situation with the support of the citizens. We also receive all the sorts of information. For example, this person here says, I lost my purse with IDs, passports, and credit cards. We tell them that we are not competent to work on this. This message actually was coming from Romania, and we don't know how they work there. So what we did was refer that person to the pertinent authorities in his country. Sometimes we get requests for information that have little to do with our work. For example, Good morning. My child is 8 years old and he's 1 meter 40 centimeters high. Does he need a chair in the car? Well, that's something we cannot answer. Some things cannot be dealt with by us. However, we try to give them an answer and refer them to the appropriate department. There is also the risk of confusion between DGT, which is the General Department for Road Traffic in Spain, and GDT, which is the acronym for our unit. That's why we received, for example, this warning from somebody in Twitter. They said that, well, the civil guard guys were trying to make some money, and that's why they were patrolling and put in tickets for overspeeding on the roads. And, well, since we are not in charge of road traffic and security, we responded with another tweet saying, well, we are very grateful for your kind remark, but we are not in charge of road traffic. Actually, this tweet went viral and a lot of funny comments came afterwards, but that's definitely not our intention. Yesterday, somebody was asking us yesterday where he could find a toy for his daughter. Well, we had to give an answer. It's not police action, but behind the crimes and behind everything we do, we are human beings. And if that little girl was longing so much for that toy, well, moved us, and we decided to help people. And that's actually our motivation, people's thankfulness. I started my presentation by quoting the 8th article of the Civil Guard statement, and I'm going to finish with another statement, which is the satisfaction of the accomplished duty. And this is our motivation at the Civil Guard. We always try to support and protect citizens. And my final word is, we are here if you need us. You can count on us. We are available through our social media profiles or the telephone number 062. Thank you.
Ahora sí hay turno de preguntas. Si alguien quiere preguntar.
Now there's time for Q&A. If you have any questions.
Pues muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Angel.